Hi everyone. What I wanted to do with this video is I thought I would upload another piece of my fan edit for Prometheus and compare it to the theatrical cut or the original version, the theatrical version of that scene. So yeah, the scene that I chose this time was the landing sequence. And I thought I essentially went through and re-edited the entire film from, I don't want to say from scratch, but I took out most of the music and I added sound effects, and it was a really extensive project from beginning to end. So what I'll do here is I'll have it their conversation with Vickers, Shaw, and Holloway, and then the landing sequence as well, and then I'll stop it there. So essentially, what I'll do first is I'll watch the theatrical version, and then I'll watch my version, and then maybe talk a little bit about both afterwards. So anyways, we start recording. That's up and running, and everything's good to go, and here we go.
Doctors, Miss Vickers would like to have a quick word before the adventure begins. Wow, nice place. It's actually a separate module with its own self-contained life support. Air, food, anything Miss Vickers would need to survive a hostile environment.
Okay, so she lives on a lifeboat.
Yes, I do. I like to minimize risk. David, why don't you make the doctors a drink? I'll take a vodka. Up.
Charlie, look. It's a Pauling med pod. They only made a dozen of these.
Miss Shaw,
Please verbally state the nature of your injury.
please don't touch that. It's a very expensive piece of machinery.
It does bypass surgery. What do you need it for?
I think there might be some confusion about our relationship. Wayland found you impressive enough to fund this mission, but I'm fairly certain your engineers are nothing but scribblings of savages living in dirty little caves. But let's say I'm wrong, and you do find these beings down there. You won't engage them. You won't talk to them. You will do nothing but report back to me.
Miss Vickers, is there an agenda that you're not telling us about?
My company paid $1 trillion to find this place and to bring you here. Had you raised the monies yourself, Mr. Holloway, we'd happily be pursuing your agenda. But you didn't. And that makes you an employee.
If we can't make contact, why did you even bring us here?
Wayland was a superstitious man. He wanted a true believer on board. Cheers.
So no response.
I'm sorry, no.
Maybe they didn't understand it. How are your lessons going, David?
I spent 2 years deconstructing dozens of ancient languages to their roots. I'm confident I can communicate with them, provided your thesis is correct.
Provided it's correct. It's good.
That's why they call it a thesis, Doctor.
What are you smiling about?
Right, Mr. Rivera, Mr. Chance, let's take it down.
Roger that.
Yes, Captain.
Descent trajectory map.
How are we doing?
Great.
All right, boss.
All personnel, this is the captain. Brace for entry.
Yes, Captain.
That means you too, Vickers.
All systems online.
What is the atmosphere?
The atmosphere is 71% nitrogen, 21% oxygen, traces of argon gas.
Whoa, now that's weather.
Just like home.
Only if you're breathing through an exhaust pipe. CO2's over 3%. 2 minutes without a suit, you're dead. Peak, port side. Whoa, 52,000. Makes Everest look like a baby brother.
All right, Take us round. Gonna use that as our point of entry?
Terrain data raising up. We've got a couple of hard spots. Could be metal.
Notice how all of the dialogue is just kind of completely boring and pointless. At least in my opinion it is. Especially Katie Dickey. She's a great actress, but it's just,
No radio, no feed source. Nobody's home.
There is nothing in the desert, and no man needs nothing.
What was that?
Just something from a film I like.
Let's go through that gateway. Reduce airspeed by 100 knots. Going through. Nice and slow. Keep it steady, boys.
There.
Hey, what are you doing?
Dr. Holloway, why don't you take a seat?
Right there. God does not build in straight lines. Starboard side, this valley. Captain, do you think you could put us down there?
Yeah, it wouldn't be any good if I couldn't do that. Mr. Ravel, starboard 90 degrees. One mile port bow.
1 mile port bow.
Engage landing sequence. Switch to manual.
Commence landing.
Easy does it. Yeah, baby. Yeah. Bringing it down in 5.
Preparing to fire RCS.
4. 2. Easy does it.
Captain, would you please tell the survey team to suit up and meet us in the airlock?
There's only 6 hours left of daylight. Why don't you leave it till the morning?
Oh, no. It's Christmas, Captain. And I want to open my presents. You, boy, you're coming with us.
I'd be delighted.
okay, so that's essentially where I'll cut it off. And now what I want to do is essentially watch the same sequence except in my fan edit version. So yeah, here we go.
Doctors, Miss Vickers would like to have a quick word. Air, food, anything Miss Vickers would need to survive a hostile environment.
I like to minimize risk. David, why don't you make the doctors a drink? I'll take a vodka. Up.
Charlie, look. It's appalling med pod. They only made a dozen of these.
Michelle,
Please verbally state the nature of your injury.
please don't touch that. I think there might be some confusion about our relationship. Waylon found you impressive enough to fund this mission, but I'm fairly certain your engineers are nothing but scribblings of savages living in dirty little caves. But let's say I'm wrong, and you do find these beings down there. You won't engage them. You won't talk to them. You will do nothing but report back to me. My company paid $1 trillion to find this place and to bring you here. Had you raised the monies yourself, Mr. Holloway, we'd happily be pursuing your agenda. But you didn't.
We can't make contact. Why did you even bring us here?
Waylon was a superstitious man. He wanted a true believer on board. Cheers.
So no response.
I'm sorry, no.
Maybe they didn't understand it.
I spent 2 years deconstructing dozens of ancient languages to their roots. I'm confident I can communicate with them, provided your thesis is correct.
All personnel, this is the captain.
Provided it's correct.
Brace for
That's
entry.
why they call it a thesis, Doctor.
I made you too, Vickers.
What are you smiling about?
No radio, no heat source. Nobody's home. There is nothing in the desert. And no man needs nothing.
What was that?
Just something from a film I like.
Let's go through that gateway. Juice, airspeed by 100 knots. Nice and slow. Keep it steady, boys. There.
Hey, what are you doing?
Dr. Holloway, why don't you take a seat?
Right there. God does not build in straight lines. Starboard side, this valley. Captain, do you think you can put us down there?
Yeah, it wouldn't be any good if I couldn't do that. Mr. Ravel, starboard 90 degrees. Bringing it down in 5.
Preparing to fire RCS.
4. Easy does it.
Captain, would you please tell the survey team to suit up and meet us in the airlock?
There's only 6 hours left of daylight. Why don't you leave it till the morning?
Oh, no. It's Christmas, Captain, and I want to open my presents. You, boy, you're coming with us.
I'd be delighted.
All right. So that is essentially ends that scene or sequence. And again, I could keep going, but I want to. I want to leave some for future videos to talk about. There's a gazillion different changes that I made for this fan edit. It's pretty involved process. It took me about 9 months to do, and it probably would have been quicker, but I had some technical difficulties, and it was a huge undertaking considering it was my first fan edit project ever. I've never really tried anything since, but if I had known what I know now then, I imagine it would have been a little bit easier to do. Needless to say, it was a lot of work, and there's a lot of different things that I could show and talk about. But sort of closing off this video, I wanted to just talk about some of the changes that I made. Most notably or noticeable is the music. But again, I didn't just change the music, because I changed the music, and if I change the music, I have to change the scene. I have to edit the scene so that they're sort of synchronized, so they work in together in unison. And with the landing sequence, I always had something in mind. It's such a neat landing sequence. It's not like an Alien where they try and land and the ship nearly gets torn apart just by touching down on the surface of the rocky planet. Here it's they just zip right in through the planet's atmosphere, no trouble at all. Yannick, when he's landing the ship, he's standing up without any type of support. It's very casual. And they're almost doing it so nonchalantly that they can just sort of have casual conversations about the atmospheric content or the content of the surface of the planet, like the rocks, and it's almost like a daily occurrence. It's so straightforward, and I wanted it in that vein. I thought, why not make it like the landing sequence in Aliens, where they basically you know, just shoot down through the surface of the planet, and they touch down really quickly. And I thought the way that it was edited in the theatrical cut of Prometheus, it kind of plotted a little bit. You know, it's like it's almost sort of scenic. They're like, oh, look at this. Mount Everest makes Mount Everest seem like a, you know, it's like they're talking about just the scenery and things like that. And I'm like, you know, you could probably trim this because it doesn't have anything to do with the plot. You know, and it's not terribly interesting either. It's just they're just spouting random information about this planet that they're landing on. It has no bearing on anything later on, except for maybe the idea of breathing through an exhaust pipe. But you know, just Katie Dickey's dialogue, I didn't really like most of it, so I tried to excise it. No offense to her or anything. I think she's a good actress, but I just something about the lines they gave her that I just can't stand. So it's like, okay, I decided to cut out most of the dialogue, except for the part where they say, no radio, you know, nobody's home. That's important, you know, because they're looking for clues of life, you know, so that actually has something to do with the plot, whereas most of it doesn't. So that really speeds up the scene, and basically I just tried to make cuts to make it feel more brisk, you know, like a swift, exciting sort of descent. And then of course I had aliens in mind, and I thought, why not use the sound effects of the dropship? You know, so I used a lot of sound effects from Alien. I always loved the sound effects in that movie, so and they fit perfectly with the scene, I thought. And then I also borrowed, when the ship is actually touching down, I borrowed the sound effects from the landing space cruiser from Forbidden Planet. And then, of course, you know, I changed a lot of the sound effects, especially after they land. There's no music. You know, I cut the music out after they've landed, so I had to replace. It's just empty, mostly except for dialogue. So I had to fill it in with like sound effects that I borrowed from Alien and wind sound effects, and then I had to use different sound effects to put them through a filter. So we had the outside shot of the ship, and then you had the inside shot of the ship. I had to make the sounds of the planet's atmosphere sound different depending on which shot it was, and that was fun. And then, of course, sometimes it would be directional as well, depending on which direction the window was, depending on which shot. You know, so if the window was to the left, I'd pan the sound effects to the left, and it's actually pretty precise, you know, in order to get it right. And but it was fun. And apart from that, some of the editing for that first bit where they're talking with Vickers, I thought it feels kind of jump cutty, to be honest. But again, I tried to cut out everything but the bare essentials, you know, just what you need to know, and then move the scene forward. And when I actually opened that scene, David pushes the button and the door starts to open, but then it cuts to that sort of establishing shot of the room, and it slowly pans forward. And I thought, oh, that would be great with some creepy music. I think, you know, just a second for you to listen to this music and just take in the details of the room. And I thought that the music from John Carpenter's Halloween worked rather well with that. And again, you know, it's not as if it had to be John Carpenter, but I was going for a horror theme. And I tried classical music, I tried all sorts of different things, but in the end I'm like, okay, I have to pick a theme or a constant tone. And so I settled mostly on stuff like John Carpenter or Brad Fiedel from Terminator, or Bebe and Louise Barron, the electronic engineers that did the electronic tonalities to Forbidden Planet, stuff like that. And you know, so and then of course when they're getting ready to descend into the planet's atmosphere, I cut a lot of scenes and a lot of the dialogue with Yannick, where in the theatrical cut of Prometheus they're actually having these conversations in front of the camera. I thought, well, why not speed things up and have that be like a background conversation while Holloway and Shaw are talking to David. You can hear Yannick and everyone else talking in the background. You can kind of listen in on that. And then suddenly you're like, okay, they're getting ready to land. You don't have to have the scene be quite so long, you know, if you want to expedite things. So it's just it was a fun thing to experiment with, because I tried different things. anyways, yeah, I think that about covers everything as far as my sequence is concerned in relationship to the theatrical cut. I definitely want to do more of these, just because I always wanted to show this to people, but I've had a lot of trouble in the past uploading this onto YouTube. So I found a way to do it. And again, this all falls under fair use. I mean, it's for the purposes of critique and parody. It's not, I'm not making money off this. All the property belongs to Fox and the respective owners, so it's not like I'm trying to get rich off this or anything. It's just an artistic experiment that I want to share with people in small pieces. And maybe someday I'll upload the entire edit online somewhere. But in the meantime, until I do that, and I'd much rather do it like this, because that way I can sort of describe my reasoning for these changes. You know, treat it like to talk shop. You know, I like talking about this. You know, because it was a long, involved process, and I worked on this a lot. And I worked on this every day. Pretty lengthy process. You know, I treated it like a full-time job. I mean, I didn't make any money off this, but it was something I did to, you know, to deal with my depression. Essentially, there was a failed business venture that I partook in 2010, 2011, and I came back to Michigan after after being unable to re-sign my lease. I had to leave a month or two early, actually, and I wasn't able to finish paying it. And then on top of that, someone else was able to help me with that, but I lost my job, my apartment, and my car all at the same time, so I went home to stay with family, and I wasn't terribly excited about that, so I thought, why not give myself something to do? And Prometheus had come out, and I remember being excited about that film, because I got home and I was really depressed, and then this is right around December. Well, I came home August 2011, and then of course leading up to December 2012, then you have the trailer for Prometheus, and then of course it came out in June, and then after that I felt like I liked the movie, but I wanted to do a fan edit of it, and then I started working on that for about the next 9 months after it came out, and I spent a lot of time talking about it. There was a PrometheusForums.net, and it was a website that I had been directed to. That was run by a couple of people who had been used to be members on AVP Galaxy, but they were unable for various reasons. I think it was mostly political, but they and the owner Darkness of AVP Galaxy didn't really see eye to eye. And to be honest, the owner of PrometheusForums.net was kind of an asshole, but I used to moderate for him and used to write articles for him, but he was kind of a cheapskate, and he wanted me to write for free, and we tried doing podcasts and things like that, but he wasn't very involved, but he wanted to step in and sort of act like the boss at the same time. The non-committal boss. It was pretty annoying. So after a while, I sort of lost interest with those forums, but I spent a lot of time in there just talking about Prometheus and science fiction and artwork, and I met some pretty cool people. And but then after that, after I stopped going to the forums quite as much, I started working on this fan edit, and it was something that I needed to do. And again, I didn't make any money off it, but when you suffer from chronic depression, it's important to have something that you do to occupy your time, you know, and your mind. So anyway, yeah, that's the gist of the project, and I want to release more videos like this in the future. I don't know if I'll do them in any particular order. It depends, because I'm not always sure how to divide them up, so to speak. So I'll probably just do them randomly or arbitrarily, but it should be fun in any case. So yeah, if you like this video, feel free to leave a like or a comment in the comment section. If you like my channel, by all means, you know, subscribe to my channel, and you know, just I appreciate it. You know, it's nice to know that people are watching these, and any feedback is welcome. You know, and this is just something for fun, because again, I don't intend on making a career out of this. Though if I could be a film editor in the future, that's like one of my dream jobs. You know, or making videos on YouTube. You know, I always thought that would be cool. From what I understand, people are having difficulties with that right now due to some various issues with YouTube as a website. But I always dreamed of being a YouTuber. Sorry, and making exclusive videos like YouTube content. I'm not the most industrious of film editors these days, though. It really takes a lot of time and effort, and I was sort of discouraged because the project, I was never able to upload it. There was a website, and I can't remember what it was now, fanedits.org, I think, or something like that. But according to the rules that they had, that the quality of my fan edit, like visually, like there were some technical problems with it, and I wasn't able to actually have it submitted, so I was never able to share it with anyone. It was really discouraging because I worked on this a lot. But it was mostly a personal artistic journey. So these days, though, I don't work nearly as hard on my videos. Usually, I just film them in one take, basically, because it's a lot easier for me, and it allows me to do everything else that I need to do in my day-to-day existence, like schoolwork and getting ready to go to grad school and all of that. Anyways, yeah, so that's a whole nother can of worms, and I won't open it any more than I have already. But yeah, and just subscribe to my channel if you want to see more videos. It's you know, if you guys like them, I'll keep making them. You know, it helps me to make videos like this and talk about things that I like science fiction and whatnot. But until next time, thanks for watching, guys, and take her easy. Thanks.